Stamp duty, land tax. Just before we start, just in case, please do remember none of this is financial advice. Don't do anything on the back of anything I say. I'm just some bloke on the stage. So you make your own decisions. None of this is to give you any guidance as to what you should be investing in. This is a good one. Because again, this is what I was referring to. That there's a problem coming down the pipeline, which they haven't resolved yet. Will they resolve it? We don't know. But somebody needs to wake up to this. Because on the 31st of March, the nil rate threshold, which is currently 250,000, is going back to its 125,000. Okay. A new 2% rate will come in at that point. But critically, the nil rate, which first-time buyers have up to 425,000, is going to go back down to 300,000. And on top of that, there's this first-time buyers relief, which I don't really know anything about because I'm well beyond being a first-time buyer. But apparently first-time buyers get this other relief as well, which is going. So what does that mean? Everyone's worse off. Meant to be here inspiring you and encouraging you, not making you gloomy. There we go. Well, we could look at it and we could think, well, this mainly affects first-time buyers. And it does affect first-time buyers in a big way. First-time buyers are going to be paying a lot more stamp duty. And at a time when they're finding it hard to save up for a deposit, that is obviously going to make a big difference. But why are first-time buyers so important? Because they're the foundation of the property market. When first-time buyers aren't buying, the property market isn't really working. It's kind of a ripple-up effect which comes from the first-time buyers. So it will affect the whole market. Now, for us, we could be a little bit cynical about it and say, well, if the first-time buyers are being priced out because they can't afford the stamp duty, it gives more opportunity for us to buy, which is an interesting thought. Because if you actually had Matthew Pennycook and Rachel Reeves and Angela Rayner in the room saying, look, we're picking up on your narrative now, but do you realise what you're doing is you're actually discouraging the first-time buyers, but potentially encouraging us? Yeah. Have they thought it through? Do they ever think it through? No. So frustrating. So that's possibly what could happen, which you may think is a good or a bad thing. I don't know. It depends on your ideology.
For what it's worth, my ideology is that the first-time buyers should come first, and that the government should be doing everything they can to encourage them and protect them, and shouldn't really be creating a situation where a seller may be more tempted to go with an investor because the investor can afford it more easily. That to me just seems crazy, but there you are.
But potentially there is some scope there for an opportunity if the first-time buyers are then priced out of the market, because the sellers will have to deal with people like us, or else they won't sell it. Yeah, makes sense? Less competition. But we know what's going to happen before that, because what's going to happen is people are going to wake up to this. They're beginning to wake up to it. Comes sort of like January the 10th, when everybody comes back from their boozy Christmas and New Year. Well, when we all come back in January, somebody's going to wake up to the fact that we've got the clock ticking for the 31st of March. And what's going to happen? They're going to rush through. Sales from later in the year are going to be brought forward to early in the year. There's going to be lots of stories on April the 1st about all the people who missed out because the solicitors were working till midnight but didn't quite get there, all that kind of stuff. Well, key thing is get your contracts exchanged. That's the key thing, isn't it? And then there'll be a bust because all these sales will be brought forward. So the house price index is going to look really good for the first 6 months, and then reality will kick in. For us, though, as investors, depends what range, which end of the market you buy in. Because I'm the cheap and cheerful buy-to-let man, I'm in the first two bands. And because I buy up in Newcastle, very often the first band. But if you sneak over into the second band, you're going to find that you're going to be going up to 7% stamp duty on houses, properties between 125 and 250. So something to budget for. And these are what the figures look like now since the budget, with the 2% added on to the old 3%. So we've now got the 5%. And you can see what I was saying, above 1.5 million now, stamp duty rate is 17%. So if you buy a portfolio, which you might have done a year and a half ago, and you aggregate the value of the portfolio, some of those properties, well, some of the value of those properties is going to be in your 17% band. If you're over 1.5 million, Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Unless you're trying to discourage investment, which they say they're not. They say they want investment. If you want to see more of me, you can find me on Facebook under Peter Jones. You can find me at my website, thepropertyteacher.co.uk. Or even on YouTube. Again, The Property Teacher. Thank you ever so much, everybody. Have a lovely, refreshing break.